and welcome to the Merryweather Knitting Podcast. My name is Gabriella and I'm coming to you from my home in Germany, where I live with my husband and our 2 daughters. And it's an evening in August. It's late. I think it's about 8 o'clock now. Both of my little girls are in bed and my husband is out. And I thought I'd just sit down and chat with you for a little while this evening. I'm kind of in the evening glow. I'm hoping the sun doesn't set too quickly, but somehow I feel like the sun takes a very long time to set here in Germany compared to where I'm from in the States. I don't know if it's just my memory or some kind of weird perception, but I feel like it takes hours and hours to set here. It just slowly fades, whereas in the States it's like sunset and then it's over. I don't know. Tell me if that's true, if that makes sense. Maybe one of you knows. Today I'm drinking a very yummy cup of tea. Since it's the evening time, it's definitely caffeine free. It's definitely an herbal tea. It's Fenchel Anise Kümmel tea, which is fennel, anise, and caraway tea, which is a staple, I feel like, here in Germany. I feel like it's something which many people just have in their pantries. You can find it everywhere. It's one of the most common herbal tea blends, I think, and we definitely always have a little box of it just because it's a very soothing blend. It's very comforting and good for the digestion and just really relaxing, and our daughters like to drink it too, especially Esmeralda, who's the older one. She's 3. We have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, Vivian and Esmeralda. And they're both in bed. So it's kind of a treat. I've never sat to chat with you in the evening before, so it feels like a very fun, novel experience. And maybe I'll repeat it if it goes well, and if the sun doesn't set too fast, like I said. But anyway, I don't want to chat. Probably the whole evening Gabriella is a little different than the daytime Gabriella too, because it's the end of the day. I feel very relaxed because the kitchen is clean, everything's settled down. I've got a load of laundry going so that I can hang up after we talk. Hopefully it'll be done by then. And yeah, it's just, the babies are in bed. What more is there? It's just a very luxurious evening. I have been working on some knitting lately that I want to share with you. That's why I'm here. And it's been funny because I've been itching to cast on a new project, a specific new project that I discovered I was kind of craving something new. I have these 3 skeins of Folklore Blouse mohair silk yarn, lace weight yarn, and I've had it for a long time. It's a beautiful dark charcoal colorway, but I haven't known what to do with it. I haven't really known, what am I going to do with this yarn. I also have a little skein of Mellow Brigo lace yarn, and I was thinking I want to do something with this. I've had it for years, a couple of years, and it's been sitting there in my stash, and I'm wanting to work through all that I have slowly. I have quite a bit. I don't have a huge stash, but I have a good little supply of yarn that I would love to work through, and so I specifically wanted to find a project for those yarns. And I did some research and I found this gorgeous blouse. I think it's called the Folklore Blouse. I'll put the name here so you can see it, but it's by Fable Knitwear and it's a beautiful design. I think it looks so wearable. All the project page entries that I saw of people who made it looked really flattering and beautiful and elegant and definitely wearable and perfect for this weather that we've been having actually. I think you could wear it almost all year long, if you styled it in the right way. But it's just this little kind of blouse top in lace weight yarn, so it's light. I'm sure it's not super good for really warm days because of the mohair. It's still, it's still warm. I find the mohair still has holds in warmth pretty well. But, it could still be for days like today. We've had wonderfully cool days the last couple of weeks where I live, and I have really enjoyed that. This summer's been a very mild one so far. I know that there could be heat waves to come. I know it's not been that way for many other places, many other cities and places here in Europe and in the States. It's been very hard summer and very hot summer for many, but I've been very thankful that here it's been nice and cool and we've got to enjoy just nice temperatures. Even at some part of me has been I want to go out, go swimming. It's been even too cold to go swimming a lot of the time. It's been like between like 17 and 22 degrees most days the last 3 weeks, I would say. Today it was like 19 degrees and it was actually pretty sunny, so we could enjoy being outdoors. But it was, it wasn't so hot that it was unbearable, which I've just been enjoying. And it's made it possible for me to knit on the projects I'm going to show you, the main project I'm going to show you. But all that to say, I discovered this beautiful blouse pattern and I'm so excited to cast it on. I'm so excited. But I decided against casting it on, even though I had everything for it, because I'm just loving what I'm working on right now, and I don't want to interrupt that. I don't want to interrupt the flow I'm in with my projects. And I feel like in the past, if I had this craving and this itch to cast on a specific design pattern, I would just do it. I would just go with it and enjoy that, and then kind of like come back to my project and try to do both at once. But I found that I'm not very good at multitasking when it comes to many knit projects at once. I'm not good at that. I think like in my mind I think I am, and I think, yeah, I can handle it, but a lot of times they end up kind of just like languishing, and I don't end up finishing things, and I kind of lose steam on them. And I think on some level I'm kind of overwhelmed by having many projects going at once. I think it like overwhelms me. I think for a lot of people it's exciting and it keeps the interest and it keeps them actually motivated to finish what they're doing. But for me, it overwhelms me and it's like too much chaos, and so I can't do it. And so I'm trying to honor that, and especially because I'm enjoying this project right now. I think if I were really having a hard time with this project, and my main project, then I would really consider just casting on another design. I know that that's been the case for me in the past, where it's just been like, oh, I don't feel inspired anymore by a certain pattern or a certain project. Then just casting on something new and putting that one to the side that's tough for me has been a wonderful, and then I return to it later and do find joy from it. But yeah, I think I don't want to just cast something on for the sake of it, or just as kind of like an impulse cast on. It's also been something I've been enjoying working on in my life in other areas in the past year, is just trying to not multitask and trying to be present in whatever task it is that I'm doing, whether that be, important tasks like work-related tasks, or even like relationally important tasks like being with my husband, spending time with him, not being distracted when I'm with him, or my children. But also like even just like mundane tasks where it's like actually okay to, or tedious things that it would be actually okay to be distracted doing. I've tried to, even with those things, like I'm thinking of doing chores or doing the dishes or something like that, I've even tried to kind of do nothing else at the same time, and I found that to be such an amazing exercise. I still often like turn on an audiobook or turn on a podcast while I'm doing the dishes in the evening, or I'm doing housework, because it is so much fun. It really makes the work a little bit lighter when you have that. But there have been moments where I've just tried to do nothing and just tried to focus on washing the dishes and cleaning the kitchen or whatever it may be. And it has given me such like a feeling of like peacefulness in my life in the past few months trying to do that. And it's given me, moments where my eyes have been opened to just be to the gifts and the blessings I have in my life, in my home, even in my body, to have the physical ability to be able to do certain things, like even like housework, which is a big part of my life right now, because I'm primarily just a mother and a homemaker at the moment. And so like that, I think that's a very important big job. I don't think it's just a small job. But all those things, like, to be able to move and to be able to do what I'm doing requires like certain physical abilities that I feel like I've had different times in my life where I was very weak or very sick and I didn't have the strength, and the fact that I do is just such a gift. So it's often like in those mundane tasks, just focusing just on the task, not being distracted, allows me a moment to, just be in prayer and be grateful, and yes, it's wonderful. All that to say, this comes back to knitting. To say that this is kind of how I'm trying to apply that to this area of my life too, my knitting and my projects and my creative work, because I think that kind of those things apply everywhere. So I'll show you my main project. That is the one I've showed you last week, or last time I podcasted, and that is my rug sweater. Oh, here it is so far. That's the back. This is the front, I think. Let's see. Where are the short rows? This is the front. This is my rug sweater. Oh, it's such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful pattern. I'm so in love with it. I'm so pleased with how it's progressing and growing. You see, I've split for the sleeves. So here you go, separated the sleeves. And I'm now knitting the body. It's really going fantastically. I love it. It's so much fun. The rug pattern, if you've seen it before, you may have seen it. It's a pretty popular pattern. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. It is completely different motifs on it. It's a colorwork yoke sweater. This is it. I'm following the pattern to the T, except for a couple of modifications. One being the motifs. So the motifs on the original are more geometric kind of shapes. I think that they are inspired by like Moroccan rug motifs, which I think are very beautiful on rugs, but just aren't really, I'm not really a geometric shape person usually when it comes to like motifs on clothing. So I saw someone had made their own version of the rug, and they called it the folk rug on Ravelry. You can look it up if you're interested. And they had beautiful floral motifs rather than these geometric ones. And so I kind of really copied them. I looked at their thing and I kind of just like, okay, I'm going to do a few different floral designs. And then I was inspired by them too for this part, but I just did my own thing for it all. I didn't have any kind of chart. I just made my own charts. I really like how mine turned out, especially this main section here, this kind of more, busy, more elaborate colorwork section. I think it looks very beautiful, and it's just exactly what I wanted from it. I think this is going to be such a cozy piece to have in my closet in the autumn and winter months. When I was pregnant with Vivian, I would often put on one of Nick's big sweaters, which I had knit him a few years ago. It's like made of Alpha Slopey. It's a big, chunky, gorgeous, Lupa Pesa, beautiful kind of a yoked sweater. And at the time I made it way too big because I knit with a loose gauge, especially color work. But sorry, I have my balcony door open, so I'm so sorry about that. You can probably hear all the noise from the street because I kind of live in a bit of a city-ish area now. But yeah, anyway, back to the topic. I would wear the sweater all the time, and I knit it way too big, and I ended up felting it a little bit or filling it to make it smaller, and it was still really big, but I wore it a lot when I was pregnant, and I loved it. It was so cozy and warm, but it was also pretty like rugged and outdoorsy because it was filled, and so it was better for being outdoors, because it had this kind of like armorish quality, being a little felted. And so I wanted one of my own, a big oversized cozy sweater, and this is what it's going to be. I think I'm not a sweatshirt person. I don't like to wear sweatshirts. I've never really been a sweatshirt person at all. I think I have one sweatshirt which is not even like an oversized sweatshirt, but I'm not like a hoodie person. I don't like it. I don't know how to explain it. It's just not my thing. But I really am drawn to this kind of cozy loungewear-ish kind of a thing, like, on your day off when you're just like chilling at home, or you're like going on a little walk, we spend a lot of time outdoors, so just kind of like being outdoors, really relaxed kind of a sweater. I wanted something like that. I think this will be that for me. And I'll just wear it with like leggings and cozy pants, and just have it on top to keep me nice and cozy and warm when it's cold. So this is my rug. And the other thing I modified in this pattern is the neckline. It is originally like a rolled neckline, and I didn't like that. I didn't want that. I kind of regret not doing it because I feel like it probably wouldn't have rolled as much as I thought it would, or as much as it looked like, because this yarn is so bulky. But I just don't really like the rolled look. So I decided to do kind of a checker pattern, like knit, purl for 2 rows, and then like reverse, so it's like a checkered knit and purl, wanting something that would lay flat and wouldn't bunch up. And that's what it does, but it comes out a little bit. And so I'm not so sure if I like it. I think it's not a very clean look, having this kind of bulky bit here. So I'm considering, like, when I'm finished with the sweater, just kind of rolling it in and seaming it so that it's just a clean line with nothing there. It's just a little extra thick. I think that's a good solution. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for the cuffs and the hem yet. I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe like a 3x2 ribbing, like a fisherman's rib, or something else. But yeah, I think I'm going to stay away from the rolled thing still because I'm not a big fan. But it's been fun because I haven't knit very many oversized, or not even oversized, very many top-down sweaters for myself. And so I rarely ever try sweaters on as I knit them. It's been very fun to try this on as I've been going, especially because it's so oversized. It's pretty easy to just pop on. I can get a good look at how it's gonna like fit me, I feel like, and I'm really loving it. I'm loving the fit. I don't know if my gauge is anywhere close to the gauge in the pattern. I did not swatch. And I think it's fine. The one thing is that I do knit a little bit loose, and I knit especially loose when I do color work. I had forgotten that because it's been so long since I've knit any color work, but the last couple of color work projects I did, I went down a needle size for the color work portion, and that helped the end product a lot, and I didn't do that here, and so I'm regretting that a little bit, but I think it's going to be okay because I switched back and forth between like stockinette and color work, and I'm hoping at the end of this project washing it and kind of blocking it out will solve all the problems if there are any. You can see the inside of my color work is like shows. I feel like if you look closer you can really tell that I'm not a very experienced color work knitter because my gauge is just not consistent, and it's way too loose, and the floats are not as beautiful as they could be. I love it when people show the insides of their color work, and I'm in awe, but mine is one of those where it's like you can look at it, but it's not quite up to par, but it's also not so bad. So, and I have to say, I do think that that's the beauty of like handcrafts and knitting, is that you always do get better and better at your craft. With every project you learn, and with every project you kind of just pick up little bits of information and knowledge and take that with you to your next project and your next one, and it refines you as an artist and as a handcrafter. And I think also like I never ever would like look at a project that I've knit in the past with like less skill or less ability and think, oh, I wish I could remake that because it's so awful. I really don't. I would not think that because I think that the process is so beautiful of becoming a better, artist, a better craftsman, someone who's better at what they're doing, a better knitter. I think that like those flaws make it so charming, truly. We can get, mass-produced, machine-knit pieces of clothing anywhere, but having a hand-knit garment is so special, and seeing that it's hand-knit and handmade makes it all the more special to me. So I definitely appreciate those little flaws. Like, I think miraculously I did not have any flaws in my color work this time. I didn't have any like little mistakes that I didn't catch in time. That's happened to me many times, but honestly, I actually like seeing it when there's like a little mistake or something in the color work, because it just feels so real. It feels so handmade and so special, that we're really like my hands made it, or someone's hands, knit every single stitch, and that's so special. Something that's so rare, you can only get that through a handmade piece of clothing. So I'm fine with all the flaws, and I'm looking forward to wearing this sweater so much. And I'm really enjoying it. It's been my favorite project at the moment, I would say, although I have another project and I've been loving that too very much. So yeah, that's my rug sweater. The other little project I have on the needles is one that I picked up after, oh my gosh, I had it like sitting for ages and ages, maybe like a year, I don't know. And that is a pair of socks. It is a little pair of socks I'm knitting for my father-in-law. Oh, these socks, Andrea, if you're watching, my mother-in-law, she watches sometimes my podcast. Shh, don't tell Walter, don't show him. This is a pair of socks which she had asked me maybe 2 years ago, I think. She had said like, yeah, Walter would love a pair of hand knit socks if you ever want to knit a pair. And I was like, yes, I want to knit a pair, but I knit one, and then I was pregnant and very sick and kind of like let this, sit to the side. Returning to them now because I feel like he needs a pair of socks. And the colorway, Nick chose the colorway, so he chose this yarn from my yarn, and since Nick, it's his father, so I was like, what colorway do you think you like? What yarn of what I have? And Nick chose this one, which kind of surprised me, but I think it's cool. And then I didn't know if I'd have enough, so I took some other yarn for the heels, the cuffs, and the toes. And this is the first one, but it was definitely like one of those moments of like second sock syndrome, leaving it forever. And finally, I think like, it's still been like, I don't know, a year ago maybe, I cast on the second sock and knit maybe half of the ribbing and then let it be. And then I did a couple rows here, couple rows there. But like at the beginning of this last week, I had probably like literally I was just on the cuff. Maybe I just finished the cuff. And now in the last week, I've knit the whole entire leg of the sock and have now started on the heel. So I'm very excited about that. It's like, feels like it's almost halfway done. I feel like when I hit the heel and I'm working on the heel, it feels like I'm at or approaching the halfway mark, which is wonderful. I think technically it's not the halfway mark because especially for these socks, the foot will be longer than the cuff, but it feels that way at least. So yeah, I'm really, really happy. It's going well. I'm working on them, and part of the reason why I feel like I'm motivated is because I'm also not going to cast on another pair of socks till these are done. And I have some gorgeous sock yarn that I want to knit, and I really I'm just really excited about them. So this has been a fun project to work on, and has really re-sparked my love of sock knitting. If you are not a sock knitter, I just can't recommend getting into it enough. They are just the perfect, compact, take-along project. They're the perfect size, they're little. I just take the sock and put it in my backpack that I take with me everywhere I go, and it's available for me. I take it in the stroller, in the bike trailer, in the car. When we're sitting at the park, I can just pull it out, keep the yarn in my bag, and just do a couple rows, knit a couple of rows. If we're in the car, I can knit, I can talk to my husband. It's like just so perfect. If I'm somewhere with the girls, I'm like, I can be still focused, kind of and aware and available for them while also knitting and moving my hands, which I love. I love having something to do with my hands. It feels so good and fun to just like, sit, watch them play and do something like knit. And it's just perfect. I feel like a lot of people know that, and a lot of people do knit socks for that exact reason. But I had forgotten that. It's been such a long time since I've knit a pair of socks that I'm just so enthralled with the process and absolutely have fallen back in love with it. Just so much fun. And sorry, I'm not like knitting on the heel. The heel is more interesting too than like the cuff or the foot. I really have loved taking it along, and it's been like such a joy and a pleasure, and like given me so much. It's just been so much fun to sit in the car and like watch it grow. But the one thing is that I can't just be knitting socks, especially not vanilla socks, because I sat down with my socks then one evening, and like evenings like now, this is my time where I'm like, I want to knit something exciting, I want to be inspired by the project, and it just felt so boring and so tedious and so uninteresting in the evening when I want something more. I'm just in this kind of a moment right now, or a season where I want to knit on something a little bit interesting. And I mean, the rug sweater isn't even that complex or difficult, or doesn't even take that much brain power, but having that bit of color work is just so fun and exciting, and I need some of that interest right now in the evenings. So for those moments, it's definitely not interesting enough and too boring, which is why for a long time I think I had put aside vanilla socks because I just wanted more. But it's good to have one always on the needles to just take along and to just have with you to do and to knit. And I mean, it's so much fun. But mittens could be similar, but mittens are faster, and I think it's nice that socks take a little bit longer usually than mittens, at least for me. Because I do find that like if I make good progress on a car ride, for example, or an afternoon in the park, I don't want to have to stop and then like focus on switching gears to like knit a heel or something like that. But yeah, I'm really loving this project, and I can't wait to knit more socks hopefully soon as I finish these. Yeah, it's been just so much fun. So those are my two projects. I mean, I don't have very many knitting projects going. As you can tell, I have two. I have this shawl I showed you, but I haven't worked on it since I showed you last. And yeah, I mostly just want to really finish this sweater. Like, in a way, I'm really enjoying the process, but it is also a product thing. I can't wait to have it finished. I also haven't had a sweater project finished in such a long time that I think it will feel so wonderful to have finished a garment. There's something always so satisfying about finishing and knitting a garment. I also did some mending this week and mended a dress that had the tiniest little issue. It just had elastic on the sleeve, and so the sleeve would fall off, and it wasn't, so I couldn't really wear it. It broken it like a couple of years ago, I think, and I just kept it because I was like, I'll fix it at some point. But it's been sitting there, and I finally pulled it out and went ahead and mended it, and it was so amazing. It feels like I have a new dress just from that little tiny mending project. And it's a beautiful dress. I had it, I got it a couple of years ago, like 5 years ago. I bought it, and it was made to my measurements. I bought it like from a dressmaker, and it was such a special dress. So yeah, that was really fun, and reminded me how I should not procrastinate on those little tiny things. Like, I feel like those, like mending specifically, I don't do it. It takes no time. It takes such little time, but I don't hardly ever like really get around to mending things that I have set aside to mend. So yeah, that was a wonderful thing I did this last week that I really enjoyed, and made me feel very accomplished with very little effort, and gave me like a lot of excitement with very little effort. Yeah, so yeah, that's all I've been up to really. Actually, there's been a lot more that I've been up to in the last couple of weeks, but I don't know how much you want to hear about that. Our life is very full, but very simple and just wonderful, and yeah, been really grateful. So I hope that you're doing well too. I would love to hear about what you're making. I always think it's exciting to hear updates on what you're making, what you have on the needles, what's inspiring you, what patterns have you been enjoying, what yarns have you been enjoying. It's so fun to be a part of this community, and it's been so fun to catch up with you this evening. Maybe one of these days I'll just sit down again and chat with you at night instead of during the day. There's like a different kind of magic at dusk. It's not quite dusk, but like, you know, at sunset in the evening. Yeah, maybe I'll go sit on the balcony now and knit a little bit. We have redecorated our balcony a bit. We had very simple things, nothing really on the balcony before. It was kind of like just boring, and we had moved in and didn't really do anything, and then it was winter, so we didn't do anything. But now we have a little kind of like a couchish kind of a chair, a little pallet bench, and with big comfy pallet cushions on it, so it's very comfy to sit there and knit. A little table and lots of herbs, and a little outdoor carpet, which the girls love to go out there and play while I knit or I read. We love to have a little morning time out there where we have like a basket and do a little morning basket and read books together, and just have our little cups of tea. It's really special and fun. So I keep looking out there. But yeah, maybe I'm gonna go out there now and spend some time before it gets too dark, and before like any mosquitoes appear. It's been not such a bad year with mosquitoes, though we've got some crazy bug bites. But anyway, I think I could probably just talk to you for hours about all kinds of things, but I'll spare you that. Thank you so much for watching. It's been so lovely to chat with you, and I hope I get to see you again soon. I look forward to chatting with you next time. Take care.